And he was like, dude, I just made almost like $500,000.
Hey,
and we're just like, I was like, holy shit. He was like, let's go get some gear. And he bought me equipment that I still use today. I don't know. And I didn't even have to kiss him or nothing.
There you go.
Just a little bit, maybe.
Not yet. He probably
not yet. Then he just calls me and says, we're like, yeah, I'm feeling a little lonely. You know what I'm saying? All right, you. Quiet on the set.
What's your
Let's do a shot right now. All right, you. Quiet on the set. What's up, everybody? This is Phuck with Philly, live from Southbridge. Your host, MC Alley, Rondo, King from Limbo, touristy engineer, Aaron on the photog, and our special guest today, Mr. Joe Becton. Guys, give it up, guys. Give it up. Yo. So Joe Becton is a historian and in Black history, is specialized in Black history in Philadelphia. He also runs the Joe Becton History Tour. You may have seen him on CBS, Fox, the Bill O'Reilly Show as well. Joe, thank you for coming. Thanks for coming out. Maybe you could tell us, like, just maybe a bit about yourself, where you're from, how you kind of got involved in all this success now.
Yeah, first, thanks. A pleasure to be here. Thank y'all for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm from Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, matter of fact.
Born and raised on the playground.
There you go. Another commercial, but that's us. So, believe it or not, right there in the corner of my street, 46 and Girard, we have a big, giant mural of Fresh Prince. So, you know,
yes, sir. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, is he like sitting down? Is he sitting down?
You sitting down? You got sneakers on?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I just saw that the other day too. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's right across the street from my house. That's where I live.
Awesome.
I grew up there. You know, Salzburger, Overbrook, Reading Area Community College, that kind of stuff. The Marine Corps. Came back and went to the University of West Florida. So, so-called educated, prepared to be involved with history.
Right.
My dad was a history teacher. He taught at Salzburger, history and social studies. So I come by it honestly. When I got to be a teenager, of course, I threw all that out. Went around the world, did a little hitchhiking.
Where'd you go? Like, where did you go?
First trips were down to Washington, D.C. and New York City.
Oh, yeah.
Then I expanded on to Boston. I wasn't too fond of Boston. I didn't get along too good there.
Yeah, I went down there one time. It wasn't really too much to offer down there.
It's cold, man. Fuck Boston.
Yeah, it's cold. And it's like Philly. You got to know where you be at.
Yeah.
You don't know where you're being at. You could get hurt.
That's the truth.
So eventually I extended on into Florida, ultimately to Texas and California.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been back and forth across America 4 times hitchhiking.
Yeah. What was that like? Was that like how old were you at the time when you did that?
I was in my 20s.
You're in your 20s?
Yeah, I'm 66 now, 67. Okay. Yeah, so I
thought you was in your 30s, man. You came in running, you came bouncing around. Me, bro. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, well, I try to be active. Yeah. I do.
It's all the spirit.
Yeah, but so you're traveling around. Like, was that you just wanted to just kind of see everything? Was there a mission on it? You just wanted to be free?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just wanted to get out there. Well, if you know your neighborhood, neighbor, you get tight with your neighborhood, you get in it, and everybody's yelling crazy and you crazy, you don't do this, you don't do that, and for instance, I was a musician, so I love to play music.
Yeah,
right. I'm playing guitar. The guy who gave me the guitar, in the same street, came down the street, said, "Hey, look, I'm playing Bob Dylan. You want to play?"
Yeah.
I said, "Bob Dylan." I said, well, I don't know. Let's see. So he gave me a harmonica. So I got the harmonica. I started playing with him. He's playing Bob Dylan. On the very first day I played harmonica, I could play as good as Bob Dylan. Well, he ain't that good a player.
I was about to say.
He's not that good a player.
I thought it was like the...
No. That was your instrument. That was the thing.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Brought one with me, too, if you want to hear.
Oh, fuck yeah.
At the end, we definitely got to listen.
So that was kind of my intro to travel, Everywhere you go, you play music, you meet musicians, and all of a sudden you're in.
Yeah.
So I did that. Finally got back home and started to realize where I lived. See, West Philly is actually way back to the 1840s. They had a black community. Mm-hmm. And in this black community, they built their graveyard. They called it Olive Cemetery. Frederick Douglass came and dedicated the graveyard. Mm-hmm. He said it was the first black-owned graveyard built by black people for black people. Now, those guys in that time exaggerated a little bit, but it was very, very stable, very, very organized.
Right.
John Paul Burr. So Aaron Burr's illegitimate son. It was back.
Who's Aaron? He's the politician back in the
Aaron Burr was the dude who shot Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
Wait.
Hamilton's on the $10 bill, right?
Yes, he is.
And he died in a duel. Because back then they used to be like, it's actually kind of similar now too. You go like this. You go, hey man, fuck you. And he goes, hey, fuck you. And they go, all right, duel me. And then they link up, and then it's kind of like a Western draw.
Almost like, let's just kill each other, man.
Shit, we do now.
That was part of it. They back to back, 10 steps, turn around and shoot.
Oh, it's like an old Western.
So Hamilton, he turns around and shoots, and he don't shoot Burr. Right?
Burr hit him.
Some people say, it was a gentleman thing. You go out, I got my heart, you got your heart. I shoot in the air, you shoot in the air. Everybody's a man, we go home.
He wasn't with it.
Hamilton shot, missed him.
Right.
Burr said, fuck.
And Burr blew his chest out. Yeah, so,
damn.
Man.
So Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of the Treasury, was shot and murdered by the Vice President of the United States.
Some gangster shit.
It is. I always say, hey, when's the last time you heard about the Vice President shooting somebody?
I know, Frank. Getting away with it. Like, what?
Well, actually,
They all get away with it.
Actually, it was a guy not too long ago that did it from Montana. I can't remember his name right now. Yeah, but he was secretary. He was
not Dick Cheney.
Vice President. Yeah.
Was it Dick Cheney?
Was it Dick Cheney? They were hunting.
Oh yeah, he shot.
Yeah. He said he shot his boy by mistake.
Now it wasn't a slug. It was a
Bird
turkey.
shot.
It was a pedal. It's like
Bird
a pedal
shot.
Yeah, bird shot. Yeah. So he just got sprayed and just got burnt up.
And he didn't kill him.
No.
He didn't kill him.
And the guy apologized to Dick Cheney. That's the gangster
strange.
shit. Yeah.
Which is strange.
Very strange,
Why you
isn't it?
apologizing to somebody who shot you? But that's so that was the most recent time that a vice president has shot somebody.
But wait, so we're talking about Burr's illegitimate son, right?
Son, yeah. His name was John Paul Burr, Jean Pierre. He was born on a ship coming back from Haiti because after Burr shot Hamilton, he had to leave town.
Right.
In fact, not leave town, leave the country.
Right.
He was kind of a crazy guy. When he got back to America, he set himself up as the emperor of Mississippi.
The Emperor of Mississippi? That's what he called it?
That's what he called himself.
That sounds intense, man.
Oh, it was.
So you said he fled to Haiti, and then he shacked up with a lady, and then had his son. Did they live in the United States, you said?
Yes, they did.
Oh, they
yes,
did?
they did. As a matter of fact,
Oh, you said Philadelphia.
Burr went on,
Oh.
but John Paul and his mom stayed here in Philly.
Really?
Oh.
They're black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
You know,
That went over my head.
That's what we're talking about.
yeah, I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that. Yeah. The graveyard that I lived in, which is closed now, was a black graveyard. In America, you couldn't bury black or white.
What?
My grandfather used to say, well, you know how them dead people move around. Can't explain prejudice. You can't be around me when I'm alive. You can't. You figure at least when you die, you all go to heaven, right?
So what was it? What was it like growing up in West Philly when you were younger?
Yeah, I guess, was there a big segregation in Philadelphia at the time? Or
Oh,
not as
yeah,
much?
segregation was about maxed out. My street, the street that I moved into, when they built it around 1926, they made it a white-only neighborhood, which is crazy because it was in the middle of a black graveyard. But somebody fell for it. They came and paid the money to live there. So it went into World War II. It was almost over that blacks started to move into that neighborhood. So about 20 years, it was all white, except for the old folks' home, which sat right there next and surrounded by the graveyard.
Yeah.
Right.
It went pretty good. I got to Salisbury, and in Salisbury, of course, it was all fisticuffs, all fisticuffs all the time. You go in the lunchroom, stand in the cake line. Why did you get in the cake line?
Right.
Everybody in the lunchroom know you in the cake line. You got 10 cents.
Yeah.
So they come over and try to shake you down. By the time you get in 8th grade, you're used to it.
Right.
A couple of gangs were around there: Hoop Street, June Street, 42nd and Manchu, 39th and Poplar, 39th and Aspen. So all those gangs were in my area. I was lucky. I never, joined the gang. Didn't get into that.
Right.
Like I said, I was playing Bob Dylan on the guitar, right? So everybody's laughing at me. What is wrong with you? What is wrong? Bob Dylan said, you can't even play basketball. You better get on it. You ain't gonna be nothing in life.
So what were some of the things that you had to experience during them times? Like, I know that was going on, but did that affect you personally? Did those things affect you personally? Like, how did those things affect you?
Absolutely.
Right. So
absolutely. There's certain places that you just didn't go. Just like I just said about Boston.
Right.
Certain places you didn't go. You knew this gang was here. You knew that gang was here. You didn't go over there.
Right.
Now sometimes you got. I got the Uptown. You go see one of the shows.
Yeah.
You're stuck.
Uptown Theater.
Yeah,
Right?
no Philly. Yeah.
Did you see?
You stuck. You in line.
Yeah.
They know you're going to go on the show. Here you go again. You're stuck. Yeah. So yes, every school problem. Saturday afternoon matinee.
Right.
The Leader, the Capitol, the Nixon, the Lincoln, all West Philly theaters.
Everywhere.
Yeah, trouble. Every gang had their own little place.
Yeah.
You already go to the movies if you don't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Damn.
When you go to the bathroom, they all in the bathroom smoking cigarettes
Yeah.
and trying to shake somebody down.
Damn.
So, yes, it affected, I'd say, my whole life. For a while, I actually believed that you would have to be a gang member, that you would have to join.
Right.
Because it was
Can't
so,
do it alone.
It was so prevalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went the other way. I started playing Bob Dylan and hanging out with the hippies.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
hung out with
So you
the
travel with the
hippies?
hippies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was
You on my way.
that was my way. That was my way. We enjoyed each other. We had different treats and stuff that we would share. And
Yeah.
Did you feel when you travel you met people that maybe didn't like have that mentality, like like other states, other places?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Probably like California is probably super.
California is where I ultimately moved after I got out the Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
California, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it down there.
So I went to Berkeley, and while I was in Berkeley, I met my wife.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
So she was a musician too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So we met there in Berkeley. Just kind of stuck together. She would hitchhike with me too. We hitchhiked to Mexico, Guatemala,
Weird.
Salvador.
Oh shit.
yeah.
So-
And in '75, when we were down there, the war was going on.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
crazy I was. I didn't look at public events or nothing. I'm walking down El Salvador. All these guys got rifles standing along the street.
Oh my God.
That's strange. They got AKs, and
happening?
16s, and this damn. Hey, welcome to El Salvador,
Yeah,
a land of revolution.
Yeah.
Who got you hitchhiking though? I know you.
Was it the musician?
Yeah. Who?
No, my grandparents came to Philadelphia in 1922, right after the Great Influenza, World War I, and the coldest winter ever,
Yeah.
and the rise of the Klan. So in 1920, the Klan started snapping back because a lot of people came back from World War I, right? And they were like, "Hey, we've been to Paris."
Yeah.
And remember that?
Yeah.
The song. There was a
They
song.
got treated good in Paris.
Well, Muhammad Ali had a
Wait,
famous line
what?
too.
What song
He
you
said,
talking- what song you talking about?
How you gonna keep them down on the farm after they seen Gay Paris? Yeah, you ain't heard that one before.
No.
No, I never no.
well, Muhammad Ali had a famous line too.
What?
He was just saying that, like, when he was in France, he was treated right, and then I come back to my country, and then I'm treated like shit. Like when he went for Rome, like the Roman Olympics.
Olympics, yeah.
Yeah. So he said when he was over there, he was like, "This is weird," like, and he was like, "So I'm supposed to fight for my country?" And he was like against people that I don't even know. Like,
Right.
it doesn't make sense. He was kind of he was like one of the first to do that too. And then Jim Brown helped out with that,
Yeah.
and the Nation of Islam, everything like that, with
Yeah,
Elijah
yeah,
Muhammad
yeah.
and everything. So when you were traveling. Eventually, how did you make it back to, or how'd you get into the whole history side of it? I mean, you had a whole music career. I mean,
Yeah,
a
my
music
dad was a
life.
history teacher, like I said. So from the time I was real little, we had globes, right? And he would say, "All right, find this country." Yeah, find. And it was easy till you got a little older. Then he said, "Find the smallest country in the world."
Yeah.
That was a setup.
What?
Smallest country in the world is a city called Vatican City inside Rome.
Yeah.
That's the smallest country in the world.
So wait, so how does that work? How is that considered like?
Is that true? Is that still how it is?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it just
The
one
Vatican
body
City,
of land?
That's kinda
Vatican
creepy.
City is where the Pope lives.
Yeah.
It's his own. It's his
He has his
own
own
country.
country?
Yeah.
And you, all right, but you was kind of weird there, not to get too deep on it or anything. But I was actually just talking about this with in a class I had. But it was so with the Vatican, how it started was because the Roman Empire, Constantine, right? He adopted Catholicism because it was growing big, and he wanted to win the election. So he was like, "Fuck, we gotta do something." He's like, "You know what? We're Catholics now," and everyone's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, just we'll figure it out." And then pretty much they turned into and that's why Italy or the Vatican is why it's like but then and that's also the spread of Christianity too, if you think about it, because back then
Yeah.
there was like paganism and all these other things kind of going on. Islam was still huge too.
Yeah, very big.
Yeah, I mean that's like most of the world was, or Jewish at the time too.
Yep, very big.
Yeah, and then pretty much with the Romans taking over, Romans own the whole fucking world, so that's how you spread Christianity.
So he got his own country.
Yeah.
He's a
That's
pimp.
pretty crazy. I
He
didn't know
can
that.
do-
That's
He,
interesting.
he can do whatever he wants. I'm just like Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
That's his own country.
No,
It's a district.
but
It's
it
a
ain't no
capital.
state.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not a state.
Something's
Right?
going
It's a
tri-
capital.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's a capital.
Mexico did the same thing when they set theirs up. So they didn't like, when they were in Philly, the capital, they didn't like it.
Uh-huh.
Because the Quakers and people like that walk around saying, you shouldn't be doing the slavery thing. We're going to tax
I heard
y'all.
they were the first people to
Yeah.
actually
And
record
Ben
the
Franklin.
first The first, like, they were the first ever recorded, like, going against slavery, right? The Quakers, right?
Well, I'm not big on first, biggest, fattest, and all that kind of stuff. But
that's what I heard.
They're early. They're early in Germantown,
like 1600s or something like that, right?
1688.
1688. Yeah.
In Germantown, they went there and they wrote the first petition in Pennsylvania against slavery.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what it was.
So they wrote that, and they, it was a nice piece. Pastorius, I think, guy's name, Francis Pastorius. We got a park up there in Germantown called Pastorius Park.
Oh, yeah,
that's right around where like Germantown Friends is, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we got a park right there.
That's interesting.
And that was the argument against slavery. Now, a lot of times, because I'm always talking about, people, human rights and things like that, people say, well, everybody had slaves. Nobody thought about it back then. I said, wrong. You don't want to hear about it back then. 1688, before almost none of us got here, they were already protesting about slavery, that it shouldn't happen.
So is this just a united? So where is this slavery thing? That's something that happened globally, or is this just like here? Because I never really heard about slavery happening nowhere else. I always learned about slavery here in America. Is this like a global thing? Do other countries go through the same type, or did they go through the same type of thing back then? Do you know?
Did and do.
They do.
Slavery.
Well, I know, like in Egypt and things like that.
Slavery is not over.
Oh yeah,
and go back to Egypt. Well, there were people who were enslaved. Usually in Egypt, the richest people had servants who were enslaved to them. Right. But China, slavery. There's a brother in the West Indies, Orlando Patterson. He wrote the book Slavery as Social Death. He wrote it back in the 90s. Great book. He looks at 300 different kinds of slavery all over the world, and compares them up. So yeah, you had. I mean, even the Native Americans had people who were not really tribal members, and they were held as slaves. A lot of times when they went to war, that's what it was about. The Bedouins loved to go to war because they show up. They don't have to grow nothing. Right? They just show up, kill you, take everything you got. They wouldn't kill the women. And they wouldn't kill the boys. So a grown woman they would keep, the boys they would keep. Right. But everybody else,
they're gone.
Was ready to go.
Damn.
Yeah. So that was the roots of slavery. As a matter of fact, when you look real close, slavery was closely associated with females.
And why is that?
Sexual slaves.
So they could abuse them.
Yeah, sexual slaves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they could abuse them. So when they show up, these are the better ones, right? They're on their horses, they got their tents. They show up.
Right.
Burn, kill, and pillage.
Sheesh.
Hey, it's kind of like what we still do today.
Yeah. I'm about to say, I feel like a lot of what happened back then, it still goes on today. Just differently. It's just differently. It just happens in a different sense of the. It's kind of hidden. If you got to kind of like not hidden, but it's kind of like happening right there in front of you, and you just kind of like have no idea what's going on.
It is happening right in front of us. Still in certain parts of Africa, Mauritania, there are still people enslaved.
Yeah. Even the prison system, aren't they considered slaves?
Now you're getting tricky.
The private ones are because
they work for like 10 cents a day or something.
And then they'll make actual merchandise. It's a form of slavery for sure.
It's definitely a form of slavery. So that's kind of like
those are private prisons.
That's big plantations is all we seeing. We seeing big plantations.
Down south they do. Angola. They're working in the field.
I saw a plantation not too long ago. Like
they still have them.
I mean, and I think it was in Texas. I saw a plantation, but a gas company bought it out, and you saw but they didn't touch it; they left it alone. You saw the trees, and I swear, it felt like I was back in time. It gave me the chills.
I mean,
I
Chestnut
felt
Hill,
people hanging off where bro, it was so.
Doesn't Chestnut Hill and parts of Germantown? I mean, those used to be plantations too. You could see the houses; they're set up colonial styles.
Yo, it gives you chills. When you see stuff like that, it almost brings you back there.
You feel those things.
You can almost feel the history.
It was weird.
When you come back to Philly. Lee Playground, 45th and Harvard.
Right.
There's a mansion in the middle of it called Busty Mansion. That whole thing was a plantation. Yeah. Now in Rhode Island, they had so many plantations they called the state Rhode Island and Province Plantations. Now there's a brother up there now, Keith Stokes, saying they need to change the name of the state. They ain't no more plantations.
I never knew that.
Yeah. They just took off the plantation part.
You know what? It's not. When you look at the official name, it's still on there. That's why Keith Stokes said, get it off of there.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, they think he's crazy. They say can't change the name.
Do you think, throughout your life, have you seen increase in change in a better, worse way, or does it just kind of seem to say almost the same?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because what you were saying, it was hidden it wasn't really hidden. We in the English world, the Roman world, we think that everything began on one day.
Right.
And then we're going to get to one point, Jesus is going to come back, everything's going to end, and that's going to be the end.
Right.
But the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Africans don't look at life that. Life is cyclic. So what we see coming around, we see it coming around again.
And we're just seeing it in different forms. We're going to keep seeing it.
Like a pendulum, too. Things always swing.
Yeah.
They always say it.
But honestly, I feel like it's a different time now because I don't know. Like maybe you can. You see a lot more than.
That cycle's coming on us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's on us.
Coming on us.
But the only reason I feel like it's a little different now is because I feel like the younger generation's mindset and our like thought process really aren't the same as the older generations. What I mean by that is we don't like older. Like I feel like me personally, I feel like the media tries to force like a kind of racial kind of
try to get it all up.
Some bullshit going on. Yeah. But what they don't realize is people our generation, we don't give a fuck. Like we
don't even watch the media. This is our media. So that's the thing. That's why I think the one thing that's great, I think, in a way, I mean, hopefully it changes for the better and everything, but like you have platforms now. You can do your research. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, not even a lot of people we don't we had the opportunity to grow up, but like we grew up in like segregate, like maybe times were different than from us than you. You grew up probably around more black people and more stable, like more situated like that. We had the opportunity to be around like everybody these days. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We grew up with Asians, white people, black people, all type of people. You know what I'm saying? So that don't really affect us no more. I feel like they try to use the media to try to like stuff
say
it down
that there's still
throat.
Problems.
Yeah, they trying to shove it down to get, like rile everybody up. And I don't know. That it may be working, it may not be working. I don't know. That's just what I feel like it's at now. I don't know.
Well, you know, it's kind of I'm always in a kind of compromised position because every time I'm talking to somebody, it's in the media.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, remember ABC from time to time, and you know, my apprentice said, "Don't go on that Bill O'Reilly, man. Nobody down with him. Don't go on that."
How was that?
Well,
what did you go on there for? Like, how did this
history
become? Okay.
Yeah, history. I'm talking about the American Revolution. Never met Bill. You know, met his producer.
Right.
But I never met Bill. They rode me up to Rhode Island, me hotel, food. Like I said, never met Bill. I told them before I did the recording, you got to pay me.
Right.
And they said, well, we don't pay Henry Louis Gates. I said, he works at Harvard. He don't need you to pay him. I have my own business. I need you to pay me.
Or I could go.
So they agreed to pay me.
Right.
And didn't.
They didn't pay you?
No, they didn't pay me. But once again, they played it one time. I did not get my $200, and they didn't play it no more.
Hey, you don't have to say, but we'll say, fuck you, Bill O'Reilly. Fuck Fox and fuck all you dumbass.
Fuck Bill O'Reilly.
Hey, fuck you guys. Oh, God. He didn't say it. We did. Fuck you.
Hey.
You're an asshole.
Well.
I can disagree with you.
I can switch it up, but since you grew up in West Philly, you ever heard of the Move Act?
Oh yeah, that's what that. Oh yeah, were you around when that happened? Were you in Philly
I was
when
around
that
when
happened?
both of them happened.
Both.
Yeah. Move?
Yeah.
You talking about when they dropped the boom?
Okay, they hit Move in '77.
I did not know that.
Of course, that's history, right?
Yeah.
You know, Frank Rizzo and the Philadelphia Police Force raided their house in West Philly in 1977.
Yeah. What was the raid for again? So take us through this. What was all going on?
Nobody.
I never really knew the story, but
nobody like Move in the neighborhood. See, Move believed in all kind of stuff. They're naturalists, right? So they believe in don't kill the rats.
Don't kill the rats.
Matter of fact,
don't kill the rats. Like the rats running around. What?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
See, that's why people don't like them.
I'm listening.
People like them. They're trying to grow their own crops. You know, they got 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10 dogs in the yard. They have 1 or 2 pistols, but they ain't really heavily armed. Their big thing was to move back to Africa.
Oh, that's why they were called
every morning, all the men would get up and they'd run all over the whole loop. What we call it? East and West River Drive. They'd run the whole loop, 10 miles every morning. Wow. So they were fit. And they were eating vegetables. They probably smoking a little herb or something.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
And they were right there in the middle of Drexel. So Drexel was expanded in '77. So they got into some kind of scuffle with the cops. Frank Rizzo sent everybody down. I must have sent like a half a division of people down there, right? And then when the shooting started, they just shot up the house. They didn't kill a bunch of people like they did when they bombed. When they came out the house, everybody got arrested.
Right.
Everybody's going to go to jail, and immediately, before there was any investigation, city came down, tore the house down. Bam.
That's when they dropped the bomb on it.
Nope.
No.
This is
They just
77. The bomb is 85.
that's wild.
So wait, so why did? All right, go ahead. My fault.
Yeah. So
Go
the
ahead.
next one, you want to describe the next
So-
one, Phyllis?
So they knocked down the house, right?
Yeah.
The bad thing about it was the only person who got killed this time was a police officer, right? And then there's some controversy. Once again, the directions of the house, who was firing where, how many guns the move people had. There was a lot more bullets coming from outside the house
Then
than
it's
inside
going,
the house.
right.
Yeah. So anyway, that went away, and they moved from that location to another location.
Yeah.
Many of them went to jail. John Africa went to
I
jail.
heard John Africa.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, can you buy a soda?
I'm not supposed to talk about it, but he's around. He's around. He does different stuff, video stuff too. He's around.
Oh, really?
John Africa.
John Africa. What is?
Yeah, he's around.
He was involved in
Yes, he was. He was one of the leaders of the movement
Yeah.
in '77, and I think he was still incarcerated in '85 when they bombed the house.
Word.
Yeah, but I was there both times because, interesting enough, I left Philly. I left Philly to go to college in '75, but I just happened to be back at the time when they shot up the house.
Right.
In '77.
And then
I
you were
left
gone
Philly.
for the other one. Yeah.
I left Philly again. I came back in '83, so I was there just in time for the bombing of the house.
So
Why are
yeah,
they so against?
why? So what was the bomb for? Like that? That's a little extreme. I don't understand why they had to blow the whole block up. Were they heavily armed then? Did they change their?
It must have been.
They
Yeah.
had more guns the second time.
They said this
than
time
the
they
first
ain't gonna
time.
just do that. We gonna get strapped up. That's what they said.
But it's still bullshit, though.
But the
Come
problem
on, you
was
bomb a whole fucking place.
apparently they had a bunch of gas cans and stuff on the roof.
Oh, moved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Gas to fuel the house, or
I don't
just
know what the gas is for. I don't know what the gas is for.
They probably had some kind of operation, some kind of weird.
Or maybe a backup. Maybe they thought they could. I don't know what they could do.
But I mean, at the same time, if they did something to you before, like, why wouldn't that make you more hostile?
And
You
be
know what I'm
ready.
saying?
Yeah, be ready. Yeah, like you said.
I mean,
yeah.
if you look at anything that, like, what happens is, like, when you first, I feel like, when you see, like, when you oppress something, what happens is you just create more enemies.
Right.
Like, from the get-go. Like, you doing that is, like, pushing a whole culture out. You know what I'm saying? And what that does is then they hate you. Then they want to fucking get you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if someone killed your mom, you'll turn into a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. I'm gonna like you killed my mom.
Yeah.
Like you could be the nicest, most gentle person in the world. You could have done all the right things, but then like that rage will drive people crazy. Like
Yep.
shit will happen.
Push a person hard enough.
And it's funny. You think that bombing a neighborhood or trying to wipe them out would stop something?
So
Like,
the
that's-
people that
Well,
weren't-
actually, it was a mistake, right?
Oh, okay.
So they dropped the bomb.
Even fucking
because,
worse.
Because
Even
of
worse.
because of all that gas, it spread all across the roofs and set the whole block on. So first, number one,
Well,
You know-
hold on, real quick. Is that their story? Did they really have gas on the roof, or did they? Are they just saying that? Are they just saying it was gas on the roof? Because there's no evidence left.
Is there
once
two?
they blow the block
Is there
up.
two? Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
they
yeah.
just saying that it was gas on the roof? You know what I'm saying? It was gas on the roof. We don't
well,
know what happened.
The bomb itself doesn't seem to have been big enough to blow up the whole block.
So okay, so all right, it probably
But
was a
a
little.
part of it was they said, "Don't put the fire out.
Just let it burn.
Let it burn.
Let it burn." They said, "Don't put the fire out." So Wilson Good was the mayor. God, I think that guy's name was Sanborn, who was charge of the police, and he was in charge of the police. And I'm not gonna say the next one, but I think it was Frank Rizzo's brother
Oh wow.
who was in charge of the fire company. Now I could be wrong about that, but Sanborn was definitely in charge of the police, and he said, "Hey, let it burn." So part of it was that they let it burn so long
That
that they couldn't get a control of it. Right? So whether it was the gas on top or whether I think it was the gas on top and the combination of let it burn.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
let the whole
both.
block burn out. And of course, you know the end story, right?
no.
They built all new houses, low bid, right? You know how the city is, low
Yeah.
bid. All new houses on low bid. Everybody, people who came back said, "We can't live in here.
Right.
This was not done correctly. I can't live in here. This is a mess. Pay me out. I'm going someplace else."
Right.
Yeah.
So right now, the houses are empty.
Really?
Hey, go up there. What's it, 60
Wait, for real? Right to this day?
to this minute? 60, come on, 63rd and Osage. 63rd and
You
Osage.
know about you?
You said 63rd and what?
Osage.
I'm about to go there.
Oh, before the fire? Or?
Yeah, before the fire, she knew all her friends was like in that neighborhood.
Wow.
She got the story like from a different perspective. She was like seen that shit.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. I heard someone yesterday. Aaron was telling me that somebody spray painted the N-word on the mural on Cecil B. Moore.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
I saw it on the internet. I'm a tour guide all over the city. I don't know where the Cecil B. Moore mural is.
Oh, wow.
Anybody know where it is?
It's up by Temple.
That's pointing like this. He was real racist, but Rizzo. That's Rizzo, right?
Yeah. Frank Rizzo.
That's in the Italian market, right?
No, he's talking about the statue on the municipal
Oh, the statue.
steps.
That's the mural. They have a mural of
It's a
Rizzo.
statue of him?
Yeah, it's a,
And right next to City Hall.
Yeah.
So which disturbs a lot of people because they're saying, well, wait a minute, we have about 300 mayors.
You
And
gonna
you
put
name
this
it, this
Only
motherfucker.
one besides the City Hall. So in
Golly.
your lifetime, they're gonna move that.
For sure.
it's wild. I was there when they first put up the first black statue in Philly.
Octavius Cato.
Octavius.
Yeah, I was on it.
Yeah, word.
I was doing it. So you were there that day?
I was there that day when they were doing like.
probably
Did you see the Civil War soldiers?
Uh,
Blue suits, shot the guns.
no, I wasn't there. I don't think I was there. I was there with the.
Is that you, Joe?
Yeah.
That was you?
that was
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
was
yeah,
there?
my group was there. Yeah.
I might.
fire.
I don't,
Third
I don't
Regiment.
remember that part. I might have got there late, but I was there the day they like cut the ribbon.
Yeah, it wasn't our best rifle salute.
Really?
Kind of sloppy. But we were there. As a matter of fact, we're going to do it again Saturday.
Nice.
All right.
Saturday, plug it in. This will definitely be out by Saturday.
Saturday, 12 o'clock, down at the City Hall. We're going to do our commemoration or dedication, as we call it, for Octavius V. Cato.
Nice.
Now, this brother was amazing, right? His father came from South Carolina. He was born in South Carolina.
Okay.
Now, we all remember the Vesey case down in South Carolina, right? Comrade Vesey. They said Vesey,
I'm actually not.
they said Vesey was going to have a revolution. He was going to get all the enslaved people together. And they were going to jump on Charleston, South Carolina. And that was going to be it.
Yeah.
Well, somebody went and told it. So the local citizens organizations, along with the sheriffs, all turned out to arrest everybody who they heard was involved with it.
Oh, wow.
Guess what? There was no riot.
Yeah.
No white people got killed. And about 4 or 5 Africans were executed.
Oh, my
Right?
Are you
God.
serious?
See,
It was a
not only
vote.
that, they had the AME Church,
Yeah.
African Methodist Episcopal Church down there. They burned the church. The guy, Brown was his name. He was the pastor down there. He left and came to Philly. All right? And then after he left and came to Philly, that's when Octavius Cato's father, William, he left and came to Philly. So that's how Cato got here, was by a riot and persecution of the black community in South Carolina. Now, this was right after the first nation in the New World to end slavery into slavery.
Wow.
Anybody remember that one?
First Nation.
Sometimes we call it Santo Domingo.
Oh,
Santo Domingo.
Yeah.
that does sound familiar.
Where?
What was it?
Here's the other one. Haiti.
Haiti.
Oh, all right.
I
you're right.
hate. Yeah. That was the first country in the New World, 1804, to end slavery.
Wow.
Right? Guess why?
Wow.
Black people took over. Well, this guy who took over Haiti at first was Toussaint Overture. And he was kind of smart. He knew that Haiti was actually the richest of all the islands.
Weird.
You know, now we yelling it's the poorest. Matter of fact, that dude said, what do you call it, a shit country?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it was the pearl of the Antilles. That was
Donald Trump said that just in case.
Yeah. Anyone wants to know? Yeah. Just in case people didn't know what that was.
in case somebody ain't listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, guess what? Sugar was everything, right? They were the biggest sugar producer. So when Toussaint took over, he said, look, we're going to keep producing sugar because we're going to stay rich.
Right.
Right?
We're not stupid.
And, of course, Napoleon hated his guts. He hated his gut, the real Napoleon.
Yeah.
He hated his
Bonaparte.
guts. He said, I want you to come up, Bonaparte, yeah. I want you to come to France. He had to go because his kids were there. He sent his kids there to be educated.
Right.
Yeah.
He got there. He never saw his kids. He never saw the council. That's what they called it, Napoleon at the time. Put him in a frozen ice castle.
Yeah.
How long does a Haitian last in a frozen ice castle?
Not long.
Not
right?
long.
Yeah.
So when he died, his partner, Dessalines, He took over, and he took the French flag. He tore it in half. He said, "We could take the white section out, sew it back together, so it'd be red and blue. The flag by 80. They beat the Spanish. They beat the British. They beat the French. They beat the French twice. That's how they got to have their own freedom. That's when Dessalines said, 1804, any African who puts his foot on the soil of Haiti will be free. You won't believe it, but you can meet Haitians that have no idea. They have no idea that they are the founders of freedom, that they have set the definition. They have no idea because it's been, you say, hidden,
Right.
but not hidden. It's
just not taught.
Not taught.
Yeah, it's not.
They said if you want to put some information and you don't want nobody to know it, put it in the book.
That wasn't a book or two. What was that? George Carver.
George Carlin?
Not a comedian.
Oh yeah, George Carlin. That's my boy right
George
there. I like him.
Washington.
Oh, the guy who
George-
we call him the father of African American history.
Oh yeah.
George Washington.
Oh man, I couldn't tell you.
George Washington Carver.
Carter.
George Washington Carter, Vince Carter.
Nope. It'll come to me in a minute because he's the greatest guy. He's the greatest one of them all.
Antonio Tarver.
Tarver. Nope.
No.
They don't know.
He's got a house in Washington, D.C. It's part of the National Park Service. It'll come to me in a minute. You would say something about Haiti, sir?
Yeah, like what happened with them and Rice? And there's some crazy story about how like the Clintons, they went over there and they used to make all their money from producing rice, and now they don't even have that no more.
Yeah, it's ugly because, as you know, when we get chemically enhanced products like food, rice,
GMOs.
That kills you.
GMOs. Yeah, that's what they call them. GMOs.
Genetically modified organisms.
They can grow them, but then they don't have they don't self reproduce.
Yeah.
Right. So you get this great big giant crop of corn, a great big giant crop of rice, and then you got to go back to them and buy more seeds.
Right.
For the next year, and because you're growing the same thing every year, you got to buy fertilizer. So now you need this big cash sum, which the bank's supposed to give you.
Yeah.
So you get a loan from the bank where you get your seeds. You can grow your next crop, and suppose it's a drought.
Yeah.
And then you're done. Then you're done. They got Monsanto got part of your money. The bank got part of your money. You got to sell your farm. You got to go. Yeah. So that's happening all over the world. As a matter of fact, big reports in India about people who are committing suicide because they lost everything. Yeah. But here in Philly, when we started Philly, the first Africans come to Philly in 1644. His name's Antonio.
Yeah.
Right? Now you'll notice that most of the Africans that arrived in America in the 1600s had got Spanish names.
Right.
That's because the main guys who are transporting them are Portuguese, Spanish, and Dutch. We forget about it, but the Spanish used to run Netherlands or the Dutch, like the British ran America. They were a colony.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and guess what? They wrote a Declaration of Independence and broke away from Spain.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, but then again, they're still super slave dealers, gold.
Yeah,
slaves,
Spain was
sugar.
almost like the main one in the slave trade. Like they started, and the Portuguese too.
Portuguese too.
Yeah, because what they would do is they would. That's why in Brazil they speak Portuguese instead of Spanish.
Yep.
It's because Brazil was a part of the slave trade. They'd actually get Brazilian slaves and they'd send it up north. And then I think because of the route, that's why a lot of the U.S. had African slaves because the actual curvature of the trade. So it's like if you go to other parts of the world, like with slavery, it would just be different. It would be slaves from like Brazil or South America or other places like that.
It's true.
So we're just talking about like getting rid of slavery. I mean, not getting rid of slavery. We're talking about like Haiti was the first to like
to
get rid of
abolish
slavery.
it
To
in a
abolish
new
it.
world. Yep.
So out of these two people, who do you feel like you two, y'all, everybody, who you feel like had a better chance in America getting rid of slavery? Malcolm X or Martin Luther King? Who you think went about it the better way? And who do you think had the better chance of actually getting a solution together?
I know my answer.
Well, you picked the two people that are instrumental. I would think I would add maybe.
If I'm missing anybody,
I think I would add maybe Marcus Garvey too.
Okay, yeah, Marcus Garvey. Yeah.
Because they're, Marcus Garvey is before them, and he might be more with the the generation before.
Right.
You know, W. Du Bois and those guys.
He did a lot in Philly too. W.E.D.
Yeah. His book,
Yeah.
Philadelphia Negro.
Yeah.
1889, he wrote a book about how come blacks in Philadelphia were so different
Yeah.
and how we got there.
I saw about it in the library.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, that's it. Carter G. Woodson, yes sir. That's it. Thank you.
I was thinking about the Peanut Bull Carter.
George
Washington
Carver.
George Washington Carver.
Yeah. Now George Washington Carver, he's kind of a laid back guy. He don't get out in politics or stuff like that. He was good friend with the Ford guy makes cars. David
Henry
Ford.
Ford?
Henry
Henry
Ford.
Ford,
He's
yeah,
good
Henry
friend.
Ford.
Well, good
I actually
friend.
own stocks.
Listen, I heard some fucked up shit about Henry Ford.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
no,
No, you
well,
did.
yeah,
Yeah, you
about with the
did.
Nazis and
He's
everything.
a
And also
Nazi.
Hitler had a picture of Henry Ford in his office, and he didn't have any pictures of anybody. The only picture he had of, he like idolized Henry Ford.
Right.
I got
Because of,
stocks in Ford. If they shoot up,
because of his automations. Well,
Yeah.
so but yeah, Ford set up the automotive college at Tuskegee.
Tuskegee.
You right? So they had the all new automotive stuff was at Tuskegee. But you're right. He was a racist. He was a Nazi. He was, and I probably use the wrong word when I say he was his friend. Some people say that at the
Colleague,
last
maybe.
time that he went to, Ford had his own World's Fair.
right.
He invited everybody to his World's Fair.
Yeah.
He invited Carver to the World's Fair.
Word.
I said, I built this house, a slave house. There it is. It's right there. Why don't you sleep in it tonight? His PhD, director of a college,
Yeah.
Wow.
Sleeping.
gives millions of dollars to the college, I guess.
Yeah.
He makes
He
some
said,
sleep.
would you like to sleep there?
Wow.
Hey, they say he died soon after.
That's a slap in the
Yeah,
face.
well, it's a slave house in Chicago somewhere, man. It was freezing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna say. I know we can probably throw a lot of people in there, but out of those two people though, who was like who would you feel has a better chance of getting what they need to get done? Who do you think went?
I feel like you needed both.
I think Elijah Muhammad was a big thing
You need
too.
both.
I feel like you need both.
A big
sides of the
influencer
spectrum.
too.
The person who influenced Martin Luther King whole march credit, he was gay. You know that?
Oh well,
Bayard?
Yeah.
who?
Bayard
He
Lancaster?
the one who got
No,
the
not Bayard
most
Lancaster.
march videos on.
Bayard. Yeah. He was. He set the whole thing up.
Because he wasn't part of the church. So the church had a big foundation on it.
And the feds had a
I
big
didn't
thing
know
against
that.
him too.
The church was black. That's what
Yeah, churches, black churches. The feds had a big thing against him too. That's why they went and got John Kennedy. Sent people to get Martin Luther King to join the thing. Now Malcolm X is the one who tells us the story. And Malcolm said, he said, they didn't come get me. He said they came and got Malcolm. I mean, Martin, because Martin could fit into their framework. But the brother, I want to say Bayard Lancaster, but that's a musician.
Bear Rusted, something like that.
Ruskin, yes.
You on a roll right now? I'm about to say, he knows what's going on right now.
Bayard Ruskin. Bayard Ruskin, yeah. And he got busted like, I don't know, a couple of years before that. He was gay, so he got busted in Los Angeles with a couple of guys in a car doing something or the other.
He got busted doing what? Like,
In particular, having some kind of
Like
sex in a
being
car
gay?
in Los Angeles with guys, yeah.
It's not fun.
Well, I mean, that's
It's
kind
what
of
it
how
is.
he
that's
was.
crazy.
But he
Wait,
did-
so was that illegal back then? Being gay was illegal?
Yeah, he used to lynch
He got busted being gay?
Oh, yeah.
It's still legal in a lot of places in the world too.
I didn't know that.
Saudi
In
Arabia.
I didn't
Russia.
know it wasn't legal.
In Russia, too.
I knew they might have had like issues, but I know it was like
No,
You get busted for it.
Illegal, go to jail.
Wow.
Get caught in the wrong spot, like he said, get lynched. Yeah, that was yeah, that was
that's
that
crazy.
Yeah, prejudice. It flowed towards everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My Jewish brothers too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It all goes off. It's like everyone kind of eventually they feel that, and it's funny because you think that people would understand that and understand that everybody in their history has had struggle and has had difference. You know what I'm
Everybody,
saying?
yeah.
It's almost like agreeing to disagree. Not even disagree, but just like I
Ignore.
don't know what you've been through. You don't know
Right.
what I've been through. Like no one really knows what anyone's been through, but like we're all here. So fuck it, let's relax. You know what I'm saying? Let's have some fun. Let's work together. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's interesting. But getting into the history books, you run a tour as well.
Yeah.
So when did you first because I know you were saying you were traveling, being a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you how did you get into the I mean, I know you said your father was a history teacher. When did you take that on? Did you start teaching history? Did you start doing your research, going to rallies, talking, things like that?
I got a lot of my information from my different brothers, different people. So there was I call them the college brothers and the jail brothers.
Got you.
See, in jail, people can get a great education if they take their time, read, look, and listen.
You got time to read,
Got all the time
You
in
might
the
as well
world.
read instead of getting in trouble when you're in jail. Educate yourself.
It's hard not to get in trouble.
That's
but-
true. That's true. Yeah,
So,
you shouldn't have done.
but you can improve yourself. I've had brothers tell me about ancient Egypt and stuff, and I'm saying, how could you know that? Where you been? You've been in North Philly. You've been in jail. What are you talking about? But they know.
Wallow said, "I wasn't in jail. I was in Yale." He said, "I wasn't at the state pen. I was in Penn State." So it's the same thing, almost like we was talking about earlier. How you said you see the correlation, and that's interesting because I don't even know if we was recording when we was talking about that, but you said you were saying a correlation in between the
Who was recording?
the jail life and the school life. And it's just why is it so similar in so many ways? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Well, it's certainly structured that way.
Yeah.
And you could go to a different school in a different place. You won't hear no bells. There won't be no fighting. Won't be no cops on the scene.
Yeah.
So it's designed to be that way, to set us up. That's why they had their schools segregated.
Mm-hmm.
So we wouldn't be even inspired by that kind of education.
Wow.
So we'd be, basically where we are,
Well, I guess
So
you
the bad
learn
thing
in
about
both
it's got
places.
So many people who hate education.
Right.
I ain't reading no books because so and so wrote all the books. I said, no, that's not what happened.
That's not how it is.
Civilization starts in Egypt, comes out of Egypt into Greece. The Egyptians were the first ones who were writing. Well, maybe not the first ones, because I say I'm not looking for that big fattest first old.
Right.
But they were way 5,000 years ago.
Right.
They were writing hieroglyphics. We had the people over Samaria. They were writing too with their cuneiforms.
Yeah.
So there's it's way back there, but people misinterpret it because we're on the other side of Western civilization, and the worst thing about us, we only speak one language.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
When you only speak one language, you only get one story.
For sure.
You only get one story, and somebody come out on the side like WEB and start talking another story, they come down on them quick. In the beginning, WEB said, "Look, I'm not going to Africa." He said, "Garvey, go to Africa if you want to." I'm not going. He said, "This is my home." Booker T. Washington said, "I'm building a university." WEB said, "Man, I ain't building no university." I said, "They ought to give us our rights right now." So he was all about rights right now, equality right now. Booker T was like, "Let's get some money and we can buy the equality." We have to worry about that. Right. And Marcus Garvey said, "We're out. We're leaving. We're going back to Africa." So they kicked Marcus Garvey out of America, right? They said he was a fraud. He had a shipping company. Guess who he was going to ship people? Back there.
Yeah.
They kicked him out. Du Bois went for years and years and years trying to get equality. On the day that Martin Luther King read his speech in Washington, D.C., August 28, 1963, W.E. Du Bois died in Ghana. He had gone to Ghana, which he told Garvey he wasn't going to do.
Right.
When he got to Ghana, he opened up the University of Ghana, which he told Booker T he wasn't going to do. So, but that whole period kind of forced him out of America to Africa, kind of say, y'all, this is what we're going to have to do. Garvey told us what we had to do a long time before that.
Right.
But in by 63, Du Bois had changed his whole mind. So when you ask me your question again, I'm going to have to say with Martin's death. That changed everything.
Did it?
Yeah, because a lot of people were like saying, well, we got to fight. And of course, that's what Malcolm said. We got to fight. When Malcolm died or was murdered, it wasn't an uproar. I mean, there were people concerned in New York. There was uproar, but it didn't go all over the nation. When Martin got killed, America caught on fire. It caught on fire. Lancaster Avenue burned out. 22nd Street burned out.
Damn.
What's that? Gulf Breeze, South Philly?
South Breeze.
The little avenue?
Oh.
Point Breeze
Breeze.
burned out.
So when Malcolm died, nothing happened. Everybody was chilling.
Well, do you think it's because Malcolm like had a bit more of like an aggressive view, and because King was so laid back, him dying was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, even someone that advocates for peace gets killed. Like, that's yeah.
That's what Stevie put in the song, right? That's what Stevie put in the song. Yeah. But I think everybody kind of was. A lot of people, like the Black Panthers, thought he was naive. Ain't nothing going to happen. You talking that peace stuff. But when they killed him, America caught on fire. Right after that, food stamps comes out.
Oh, damn.
And President Johnson, Lyndon B. Johnson said, we're going to give y'all food stamps. It's the war on poverty. Yeah. Let's y'all get food stamps poorer than ever before.
Yeah.
Poorer than ever before. But these were the kind of reactions that they were having.
Right.
They said, we got to start giving stuff. We got to get these people get something. So guess what?
So
College grants.
So you know what they're doing? They're taking it even a step further. So it went from one thing, and then they're capitalizing off of that. So they kind of capitalize off that, meaning so like, I understand like people. Well, what were you about to say, Keenan?
I was saying Aaron talked about it, and I used to be like, "What?" And then I understood what he was saying. The whole food stamps thing, you know what I'm saying? I grew up, my mom, you know what I'm saying? We had EBT, all that, but I didn't know that you have to make under a certain amount of money.
It keeps you in a
to be eligible
bracket
for
so,
EBT. Isn't that kind of like a backhanded? What's it called? What's the word? It's like
Slap him.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like because what it does, it's like if you get a better job, a better raise, it actually is worse for you, like to move up, because then you don't get all these benefits. Do you know what I'm saying? Getting the couple $100 a month
like
to get your food.
You get
If you do better, it's like hold up, I can't.
For doing
you know
better.
what I'm saying? It's almost like because then I feel like that can instill like deep with a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you're scared for success, scared to be powerful, in charge, things like that. It's like a mindset. It's kind of like, here, just relax. We got it. We'll handle it.
It's
you
like,
know what I'm saying?
That's why I was like, they kind of capitalized on that, because they went from like, now I'm a really have you dependent on me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm a really, like it's almost kind of like they got a double whammy off that. I don't know, but keep going. I kind of want to hear.
Well, once again, a whole bunch of people wrote about it in 1960s and 70s. They called it the culture of poverty, right?
And that's something created, right? Go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, for instance, I mean,
Sorry, Joe, if you can, just a little bit more on the mic. Sorry.
most of the time you can't you can't get these things if the man lives in the house. See, so even if you had a job that was a little, kind of job, and you could help support your family, you got to move out so they can get their full $300 whatever it is a month. The medical for the kids, all those things was included. And if you come up out of yourself, you stay out the way.
Oh man.
So they were literally destroying the family.
Breaking up households
If they got
for a profit.
always for a profit.
Sheesh.
Always for a profit. Always for a profit.
Yeah, I never even really knew that. I didn't know that's how that came about, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about history, and that's why I'm into it, so I can get a chance to talk to people and say, because you ain't going to see it.
Right.
The people be telling me, did you see Netflix? I said, no, I didn't see Netflix. I said, I did see one Netflix. In the first 10 minutes, 10 people got killed in the show. I said, oh, man, cut this off. kind of show with that.
Yeah.
Well, would they tell about Haiti? No, you won't hear nothing about Haiti.
No,
Except that it's some kind of garbage country and the people ain't no good, even though they help to define what freedom is for the whole world.
I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
real stuff
it's
like
good.
that is going to be in a book. It's not going to be on screen. They're going to be on film.
Yeah.
Like I said, like you got to go look for information like that.
That's true. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at it, Ocean's 11. You ever hear of it?
Yeah, I see.
I love that. Bernie Mac.
It's been done 6 times.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
We don't need a lot of people don't crave new information sometimes. Some people are just stagnant with being like, I like how this was, so let's keep it going.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
All y'all young artists.
Oh, like Fast and the Furious. They got 8 of those motherfuckers. Like, come on, how much faster can you go, man?
But all y'all young artists got all these ideas. They're not accepting your plays. They're not accepting your movies. They're just running the same ones over and over again with the same themes.
Yeah, same thing.
They the coolest people in the world. James Bond.
Yeah.
James Bond.
James Bond go anywhere, kill anybody.
Oh man.
But
To rap, I mean, not to rap, but the like an overall like blanket thing I wanted to ask you. You say you're in a history. People always say the best way to predict the future is to look at the past. You know what I'm saying? Because history repeats itself. As black,
thing we were saying.
yeah. As
Cyclic
black
thing.
people, what do you think we need to do
What do we have to look forward
to make ourselves? Yeah, what do we have to look forward to?
Like what's coming next? Because I feel like you know the steps. Like
Well-
you see where we are right now,
what do we need to do?
30 years ago, and you see what's coming.
I see cycles.
Right? Is that what you're trying to say?
pretty much.
Yeah, I see the cycles. Yeah, and right now we can make go into a real bad cycle. This last time this happened was right after World War One. They came back, and like I said, the soldiers came back, and they were like, "Man, this is y'all not right." I've been in France. People, they ain't perfect, but a whole lot of people don't treat me like y'all treat me. And we are just assumed, this was natural.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go someplace else, and people say, "No, come on in. Let's eat. Let's talk. Let's drink. Let's." So when we came back from World War One, and people started moving down to the South, the Ku Klux Klan exploded.
yeah, and then the Harlem Renaissance too exploded up north. So
There you go. There you go. That was part of the reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because the Harlem Renaissance, all these black intellectuals writing, plays, music, doing all this kind of stuff. And then to top it off, the women want rights. Oh, man, what you talking about? Women with rights? They call it the Roaring 20s.
So we're in 20s.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we're back in the 20s again right now, which is a crazy thing.
Yeah, strange.
That's what I'm talking about, that cycle. That's what I'm talking about, that cycle as it spins back around. Oh, we're going to get you. And we're in the middle of that. What do you call it when you do that?
Some backlash, maybe.
Backlash.
Yeah.
That's the word they use.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of that backlash. And, well, we'll see. November's going to tell us if we're going to hit hard. Because he already proved they can't do nothing to him.
I'm about to say, didn't they just reverse his impeachment or something like that?
Well, see, impeachment was not the way to go, no way. When the Constitution was written, it didn't say nothing about impeaching the president.
Well,
You can
did
impeach
say
other
if-
politics or politicians in power.
No, but they were making it so like it was just to protect it's to protect the country. It's to protect I forgot how it worked. I don't want to sound like an idiot coming off like I know what I'm talking about.
It's tricky. You understand what I mean? Because it's tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky.
But
It's like
in the Constitution, it really didn't provide for the impeachment of the president.
yeah,
Website or
website you
anything?
want to plug into?
You know what? I'm not that web active, so I can't keep up with putting all my dates in my website.
All right.
I do have a Facebook.
Facebook.
You can plug it in.
Instagram?
Yeah, Joe Becton.
Joe Becton.
Joe Becton 9, as a matter of fact, I think is what they
Joe-
Joe Becton 9.
That's
And
my
I'll put it right
Facebook.
there. I'll put it right there.
Check
So,
them out.
One of the things I love and I really believe and push all the time is that music brings history to life.
Yes, it is. That's a fact.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming on. Give it up for our guests, everybody. Clap it up. Clap it up for our guests. Let's clap it up for our guests. Check them out online. Check out the plugs. Thank you so much for coming on. This is Phuck with Philly. Enjoy your life, everybody. Till next time, kids. This is Phuck with Philly. We out. Bang.